Hey lovelies. Okay, so remember those meatballs that we just made the other week, a little while ago? So I'm making pasta sauce, as you can see. Ta-da! I've got my onion that needs to be diced. I've got all of my sauces over here ready, and then I have my meat. Now, there's my olive oil, obviously. I like to brown my meat all together and just put it in there, but I don't like the idea of just using meat for one thing. So I'm cooking up all this meat because, as you can see, there's something in here. Those are mashed potatoes with carrots, and I'm actually going to make a shepherd's pie as well. So some of this meat here is going to be cut in half after it's done browning, and then we're going to use it to put into a shepherd's pie. So I'm going to show you how I prepare my meatballs. It's really, really simple. You already know how to make them, and now I'll show you how I cook them, and so they maintain their shape. So let's get started, shall we? Okay then. God, stop yelling at me. I get it. Okay, so of course, one of our first steps is going to be dicing our onion, but we need to heat up our pan, put a little bit of olive oil in it. Just a splash. There we go. And now I saw this little trick thing here on a cooking show, and I was like, wow, that's brilliant. But what they used was a pick from like an African American store. And I actually went to go and buy one there, but unfortunately they didn't have it. So obviously I saw this at Winners, and I was like, hey, it's basically the same thing. Ta-da! Okay. Oh, why do I love the smell of onions so much? Now this, just pop it in like that. Ta-da! And now this will allow us to cut it at a better sort of, see? Ta-da! And then we're just going to peel these off like that. Put that there. And now I like to go in and just chop, chop. And it doesn't matter if there's really big pieces. They're onions. I mean, anyone that eats my food knows that I love onions, which is really funny because I didn't like them as a kid. My mom would put raw onions in everything. And it wasn't until I was an adult that I realized that I really liked onions, but they had to be cooked in order for me to be able to eat them and enjoy them. Now I have one of those like magic bullet things. I could have used that to crush the stuff up, but it's super loud, and you know me, I don't really like to do a lot of editing to my videos. I like to try to do it all in one sort of setting so that you can see that I didn't cheat on anything. And yes, by the way, I have a really good wooden cutting board, but I find that I use that for like special occasions when I'm making meals for a bunch of people because it's a little bigger. It gives me a bit more of a space to, you know, move around and do things. But this is easier when I'm just cutting stuff on the stove and I need to, you know, get it all ready. Ooh, hello. Just go in here and just get them all together like that, see? Give it a good little Oh, I love the smell of onions cooking. Oh, it's probably one of my favorite smells ever. If they made a perfume that was cooked onions, I would probably buy it. I know I'm weird like that. You can judge me how you want. I don't really care. Now, one thing that I didn't really know about until recently, and Chef Mario Battelli talked about this on the Chew, and it was onions should never be rushed. If you really want to get all the flavor out, you should slow cook them like this. You should never rush them. Let's not forget our garlic, because we all know I love my garlic. Now, I bought this new contraption the other day to deal with garlic, because I found the Betty Crocker thing that I was using, it was really difficult to get that one last little out of it, so we'll see if this thing works better. So, this is it. You're supposed to put the garlic thing in here. Put the lid on like this. Oh my god, it works. Look at that. Oh, this is heaven. And you just push it down. Oh, amazing. Amazing. I'm in love. And P.S. I got this at the dollar store. Now I'm sure that it would be much better if it wasn't frozen, but like I said, I like to buy my garlic in bulk, and I don't like the idea of any food going bad because I feel like that's just so bad. I don't like it going bad because it's so bad. I'm like I'm such a great talker sometimes. There we go. Ta-da! And then we have a little chunk right there. We can just throw that in there. Oh, gosh. How beautiful does that look? Okay, so I like to use ground pork. I'm a really big ground pork person. I think that ground pork holds flavor better than a lot of other meats. And it's good for you, right? Extra lean ground pork. There you go. Put that in there like that. And of course, there's my 3-pack of veal and everything again because, well, I'm addicted to the flavors that this 3-pack here brings out in other foods. So, I love it. And then we're going to throw one last thing of pork in there. Oh my goodness, look how meaty that is. You got a meaty tuck, girl, meaty tuck. And just get in there. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty when you're cooking. It's gonna happen. You know, don't be afraid of making a mess. The only way you're ever gonna do anything in life is if you really just apply yourself and do what you need to do. Don't worry about anything. Now, I like to go through with, as you notice, as you can see what I'm doing like chopping because I want the meats to mix together. I don't want just one side of anything to be one flavor, and you know what I'm saying. You know know what I'm saying, okay? Now, of course, there's our garlic salt. Yum, yum, give me some. Onion salt. Which does not seem to be, oh, here we go. There we go. So yummy. And we're going to put just a little bit of the no salt added chicken broth by Campbell's. We're going to put just a little bit of that in there. And remember what I said about pouring it. So there is a way to pour it so that it doesn't splatter. I saw this online and I was like, that's just stupid. And then I did it and I was like, oh, that makes so much more sense. See? Ta-da! But if you did it this way, it's like, right? It's not great. Oh yeah, baby. I don't know why, but as I said, oh yeah, baby, I heard the plug it in song. Sometimes I'm just, well, I'm a special kind of Samantha, you know? And you know that nothing is ever complete in my house without hot sauce. It's just the way it is. Sorry about it. Not sorry about it. Okay, we're going to let that cook up, and we're going to come back to it in just a few minutes. Now, once your onions are nicely sauteed in there, you can actually turn up the temperature on the ground beef to get it cooking just a little bit better. So instead of having it on medium, I have it on medium-high, which is at a 7. That's what medium-high means, by the way, in case you were ever wondering. When it comes to the way, when they say medium-high, medium-low. So obviously here's the low part, and there's the medium. So medium-low would be the 3. The 5 is medium. 7 is going to be your medium-high, and then there's your high. Ta-da! Listen to that meat cook away. Now, for the shepherd's pie, we're not going to fully cook brown the meat all the way. We're just going to get it so that it's in between cooked and not quite cooked, because we don't want it to be dry when we add it into our potato mix. I'm going to put those potatoes away because once we take our meat out of here for the shepherd's pie, we're going to let it cool down. Oh yeah, baby. It's gonna be such a meaty sauce. And I know I keep saying meaty sauce. I don't know why that's in my head, but it's there. Deal with it, people. Deal with it, okay? Okay, so that looks like it's pretty much ready to go into our other dish to set it off for our shepherd's pie. So what we're going to do is we're going to transfer some of our meat from here in this dish here, this bowl here, pot here, dish, bowl, pot. Like, come on, Samantha, make up your mind. What is it? We're going to get out our bigger spoon here. Now this one has a drain on it. We don't want to get too much of the juice up in here. Okay, so for our shepherd's pie, we're going to do this. This is our little casserole. I think it's a 1 quart casserole dish. I'm not really sure the size. I'm sure it says it on the bottom, but well, obviously I can't turn it over now. So, super important. We're going to leave that out there at room temperature before we add it to the fridge so that it can cool down. Now, oh my goodness, look at that gorgeousness. Just is what it is, mama. There we go. Now, let's get our green pepper all chopped up. Now, the secret to a really good green pepper cut is just chop the top off like that and just pull this out. See how easy that was? It just comes out just like that. And you can throw that part away. I'm just going to pop that out of there. Now, green peppers, you can make green peppers as thick or as thin as you want. It's completely up to you how you decide to do it. I like to leave mine like that. I actually like bigger chunks of green peppers in my food. And then when we get to the other part, we'll cut it down like normal pieces. I mean, air quotes normal, right? Because what's normal when it comes to cooking? I have seen some stuff online that has made me question my sanity and whether or not I had taken hallucinogenics before I was watching this cooking tutorial. Okay, so that's our top right there. Going into our bottom. Just kidding. Not really. Now I go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to do it like this. And listen, like I said, they don't have to be all the same size. You don't have to be that anal about it. If you want to, you can. Like, there's no one telling you that you can't make the exact same size every one of them. But for me, I don't know. I just sort of go all willy-nilly and hope for the best, really. I apologize for the sniffles. Unfortunately, I have severe allergies lately. I'm not really sure what's going on. I've never really had them this bad, but then again, I've never really lived near a park as big as the one I live by now. So, yeah. Now be careful when you're cutting with a knife. I know I say stuff like it seems like common sense, but not everybody has it, and some people don't understand that a knife is sharp and can hurt you. And let's face it, there are only so many people that can pull off 9 fingers. I'm just saying. And I don't think I would be one of them. Although, if I got rid of a finger, maybe my hands would look a little smaller. Just saying. It's not really the worst thing on the planet, is it? Sometimes when I'm making my pasta sauce like this, I will use some TVP, which is a textured vegetable protein. Not always, but sometimes I do, and it really adds a flavor to your sauce. There we go, look at that. Now we're going to start adding our sauces. I like to use the no salt added diced tomatoes. I use 2 cans of diced tomatoes and 3 cans of sauce. And you can use whatever sauce you want. You can use no diced tomatoes, you can use flavored diced tomatoes. It doesn't really matter. It's completely up to you. It's about your taste. But again, as I've said before, unfortunately, being on hormones, I am at risk of heart disease, and so I have to be very careful when it comes to how what I ingest, and I prefer just to, you know, and my can opener has decided to die on me. So there we are. Oh, there's our diced tomatoes. Give that a good stir. And this sauce, by the way, making this sauce like this sauce is, you'll notice I have a theme, anything that's freezer friendly, because I like to make giant portions of things so that, mainly because I love my cooking, and I like the idea of being able to eat it again if I want, whenever I want. So yeah. Now here's a sauce. It's Del Monte. It is the garlic and herbs one. It's $1.25 at Dollarama. I mean, you don't need to spend a shit ton of money. If you want to buy the expensive pasta sauces, be my guest. I have nothing against people that buy that. I think that if you can afford it, then why not? But I realize that a lot of my followers, you know, I realize that you're not rich, I'm not rich, and I don't see why I should pretend to be. You know? Okay, we're getting our second can of diced tomatoes opened here. Being careful not to spray it too much. I don't want to get it on the camera. That's what she said. Just saying. Oh, look at that. Look at how beautiful that looks. Now, if you notice, the sauce is a bit runny. That's why you add tomato paste. Tomato paste actually thickens up your sauce. So it's always good to add some tomato paste. You don't have to add the whole can. You can if you want. It's completely up to you. Again, a lot of stuff that I cook when I cook for myself, it's all about the flavor that I like, and I don't know what kind of flavor you're gonna like, so I don't want to tell you, hey, you should absolutely do this. All of my recipes that I make are 100% open to interpretation. And by that I mean you can add and subtract anything you want, and it's still going to turn out to be pretty goddamn good. That's what I'm saying. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at how good that looks. Woo! Woo! I don't know what's wrong with my can opener tonight. It really has decided to just go on the shitter. What's going on? You know, this would never happen if I wasn't doing anything on camera. Oh yeah. Now here's our tomato paste. Get a nice little tiny spoon here. I'm just gonna pour that whole can in there. Oh, tell me that looks amazing. I don't mean tell me that looks amazing. I'm saying like tell me it doesn't look amazing. God, I'm such a weirdo. Now we're gonna stir that in there. Really, really, really good. We have one more can of pasta sauce we're gonna add. This sauce here is the meat sauce by Catelli. It works just as good with sauces that are plain without a lot of flavor, so you don't have to worry about that either. Now, we're going to bring this to a boil at the medium high. But first, we're going to do something very smart. We're going to put the anti-splatter screen on. Okay, so our sauce is boiling, and this is a super, super important thing. Now, I've got our meatballs out, and we put them in frozen, by the way. Totally frozen. Don't they look amazing? Oh. Now, it's always about getting them out. It's not always easy. They stick, oh, there we go. And just pop them in when they're frozen. I think one of them just had a piece of wax paper on them. Yep. we go. Just take them off and drop them in. And now, with them being frozen and cooked like this, they're gonna retain this like really great big meatball shape, and that's what we want, right? God, they get frozen together so easily. Ta-da! And then we're gonna just do that. Oh yeah. And with them being frozen, what's great is that you can stir and you can get things done and you can get everything sort of mixed together and you don't have to worry about them falling apart. Right? Because that's sort of an important thing. You don't want them falling apart. So I'm sure you're wondering how it is I figure out if my meatballs are done. And this is what I do. This is the exact bowl that I use every single time. I get out my thermometer. Ta-da! It's digital. It's going to let me know right away. And what I like to do is I'll count to 10. So once I take something out, I immediately, so here we go. There's our, and I'm going to do this. And we're going to see what the temperature gets to. And I count to 10. Wow. Oh, you know what? So because there's pork products in here, I'd like to make sure that it gets to at least 170, and it has. So we are going to test it out. Ooh, this is exciting. Oh, look how juicy that is. Look at how juicy that is. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. It's so good. Look at, oh, do you see him? Photo bombing right there. Do you see him? Do you see him? Look, look. And there you have it. So now you know how to make homemade meatballs. You know what I put in this sauce. And you know how to try it to check to see if it's cooked. Ta-da! I hope that you enjoyed watching this. And as always, at the end of every single video, there are 3 things that you can do. Number 1, comment down below. Number 2, share this with your friends, family, and coworkers. And of course, most important, number 3, if you haven't already, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I am going to go and finish off my meatball. Oh no, no, no. Bye.